It's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report. Last Saturday was the much touted Global March on Jerusalem. And for all intents and purposes, the evaluation basically is that it was a dud. It didn't take place. There were supposed to be some 2 million people amassed around the borders of Israel. Lebanon in the north, Syria, Jordan in the east, and Egypt and Gaza in the south. At the most, there were probably 100,000, and those were primarily centered in the West Bank and Ramallah, and with Hamas in the south in Gaza. But it's that continued effort on the part of the Palestinians to assert that Jerusalem belongs to them. Now, of course it doesn't. The scriptures are clear on that. But it's this continuing attempt to demonize and delegitimize the very existence of the state of Israel. The Deputy Foreign Minister, Danny Ayalon, said this. He said this event on Saturday characterized the recent Palestinian political moves against Israel as diplomatic terrorism. There are some that are upset at that term, but I think it describes it very well. He says a further expression of the Palestinian strategy of confrontation and a continuation of the diplomatic terror that Abu Mazen, that's the Palestinian Authority President, Mahmoud Abbas, that he is using against Israel in international forums. Now, this was a bust. There's no question about it. But I think it does speak of a preview of coming attractions. It's not going to stop here. It's going to continue, and it will get worse. And I keep going back to this passage in Zechariah because I think we're going to see this prophecy take place sooner rather than later. You've heard me refer to it before, but once again, I think Zechariah could foresee this with great clarity. When he says in Zechariah chapter 12, verses 2 through 6, he says, I'm going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the surrounding peoples reeling. He says, Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem. On that day when all the nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations, and all who try to move it will injure themselves. On that day I will strike every horse with panic and its rider with madness, declares Yahweh. I will keep a watchful eye over Judah, but I will blind all the horses of the nations. And then the leaders of Judah will say in their hearts, the people of Jerusalem are strong because Yahweh is their God. But then he says this, and this is critical. On that day, verse 6, Zechariah chapter 12, on that day I will make the leaders of Judah like a firepot in a woodpile, like a flaming torch among sheaves, and they will consume all the surrounding peoples, right and left. But Jerusalem will remain intact in her place. Jerusalem will remain intact in her place. Now that's God's verdict. And we can affirm that, and we can believe that, we can stand on that, because Yahweh is our God. He is not the God of the jihadist. So until next week, Od Ki Yavo Shiloh, until Messiah comes, Shalom Aleichem.